out for you just before the break. New York City dispersing 70,000 flyers, spent 32,000 taxpayer dollars, basically coming up with a how-to guide, for lack of a better term here, on how to safely use heroin, if that's even possible. Some would even argue that point right there. We'll take your calls. 1-877-TEL-HLN's the number. Joining me now to talk about this, New York attorney Eric Richman. Also with us, Ken Seeley, an interventionist, founder of Intervention911.com, and he was an addict, clean now for 20 years. Ken, I'll start with you. Is this good or not good?
Mike, I think this is one of the worst things that we could see happening right now. If you really want to educate the public, I think the better thing to do to help them is give them the tools that are necessary to see the red flags when somebody has the disease of addiction, and then tell them what to do on guiding them to treatment and help with the problem instead of giving them the solution to keep them sick in their disease.
You think this is going to
devastating?
You think this is a green light? Say somebody's, let's say they're a drug user, haven't tried heroin yet. You think this is a green light for them? Hey, that's a safe way to use it.
I'll use my own story as an example. That was one of the drugs that I didn't try because that's what drug addicts do. But I'm telling you, I could remember back when I was in my disease, I would have taken that pamphlet and said, hey, they're showing me how to do this healthy. I could do this and I could live through it. And, if the state is okaying it, then great, let's try it.
Okay.
And addicts will do that.
Let's get Eric Richman in on this. Eric, what about that this somewhat legitimizes or demystifies heroin use?
Yeah. I think that the concept that somebody who's using drugs would pick up a 16-page pamphlet and like a zombie would follow it by the letter is absurd on its face. I think that if you're not promoting this form of education and information, which is what it is, then you're promoting ignorance. And quite honestly, I'm surprised that Ken, who's somebody who specializes in treatment, doesn't see this as treatment. If you look at this guide as a whole, then you'll see that it doesn't just give advice as to how to inject. It also talks about where to go for help. And when it says to use with somebody, it says that somebody's there so that they make sure that you don't overdose alone. There's a lot of very helpful information here, and to ignore it or to deny it is really like burying your head in the sand as to a major problem in New York City.
Ken, I'll let you respond. We got some phone calls. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I disagree. I think by giving them the tools that they need to help them get high on heroin, heroin's an illegal substance. It's not even legal in this country. So by giving them the tools to do it, I disagree. I say educate the families, educate the addict on getting the help necessary, but don't give them the necessary tools to keep them in their disease.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Let's get a call in. Christine's with us in Washington. Christine, your thoughts here?
Hi, Mike.
Hey.
Christine. Well, actually, I have a cousin that was injected by a heroin user, not a user, but a dealer, and he was killed. And right now they are going to, he is going to court. They are taking the dealer to court, and they are holding him responsible. So I think that this is just wrong, period, because no matter what pamphlet you hand out, they're still going to inject these kids, and they're going to inject themselves, and they're still going to have overdoses, no matter what.
Yeah.
So...
Eric, I'll let you tangle that one, and this just because in the sense of it, when we heard it in the package, that there's no safe way to use heroin, and it can be deadly. Go ahead.
That's correct. There is no safe way, but there are safer ways, and what this is education. The problem in New York is both on the individual level, with people, over 70% of overdoses in New York are these heroin overdoses. There's a major spread of hepatitis and HIV, like you saw in your previous segment, and to ignore that problem is just absolute denialism. It's like denying that gravity exists. We have a problem in New York. Are you going to deal with it, or are you going to just deny that it exists and start arresting people who, quite honestly, are at the bottom of the food chain here, as opposed to arresting the people like your caller just talked about, somebody who's actually supplying this drug.
Let me get a Facebook comment. This is from Suzanne writing this. The money used to design and print those pamphlets could have been put to better use. Ken, I'll put it to you. How could that $32,000 taxpayer dollars have been better spent to help with this problem?
again, I don't disagree with education. Education is key, but educate the people on what to do. Give them the tools necessary, and then if they refuse to get the help that they desperately need because they're in the disease of their addiction, then you could get the law enforcement involved and get them involved in drug court. Use those funds to fund drug court. That's an amazing program in New York. It helps save people's life. That's where you educate the people.
Real quick, another call. Teresa in Minnesota. Teresa, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this pamphlet is an absolutely great idea. Let us prolong these heroin addicts' lives so they can inflict more emotional, psychological, and financial abuse on their families. And not only that, but why don't we print out a few more pamphlets about how to safely abuse people and break the law?
Teresa, wrapping things up on a sarcastic note for us. Good debate, guys. Thanks again. Coming up, accused bank robbers, young girls ages 12 and 14.
Are you a homeowner 62 or older? Your home is probably